We don't know what is going to happen next. It might be Taiwan.
Okay, please excuse the black eye, soccer injury, but yes, anyway. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Alan and this is my life in Taiwan, and usually this channel may focus on the lighter side of life in Taiwan and how living here as a foreigner can be a fun, eye-opening experience, sprinkled with awesome foods, cultural experiences, and yes, perhaps I will throw in the occasional more serious topic from time to time, but I feel today's topic is probably the most serious I have ever spoken about on the channel, and as such, I have dressed up for the occasion because today I am going to be going over the recent events in Hong Kong and discussing if Hong Kong completely loses its autonomy to China, will we here in Taiwan be next? Hence the title of the video, Hong Kong today, Taiwan tomorrow.
Taiwan could be China's next target.
我们不承诺放弃使用武力。
Do you think that it's possible that China makes a military move against Hong Kong or Taiwan during this period?
We are also concerned that China might take some military action against Taiwan.
As a British expatriate here in Taiwan, with a very strong emotional connection to Hong Kong, as it's where I married William's mother, I feel a little bit maybe more qualified to comment the most. So first, let me give you a quick summary on the history of the situation. Hong Kong was a British overseas territory from 1842 to 1997, when the entire territory's sovereignty and its 6.5 million population at the time were handed over to China. But Hong Kong definitely didn't just become part of China, and instead became what's known as a special administrative region, with its own basic law as part of the Sino-British Declaration, and one of the fundamental factors of that basic law was that Hong Kong and China's diplomatic relationship was defined as a one country, two systems principle. Very similar to what China claims is the relationship between us in Taiwan and those in Beijing, regardless of the fact that Taiwan wholeheartedly rejects this concept.
台湾民意也坚决反对一国两制。
The one country, two systems principle stated that the governance and economic system practiced in China would not be extended to Hong Kong. Instead, Hong Kong would continue its capitalist system and free way of life for 50 years until 2047. And everything was going relatively smoothly until last year, when a proposal for the Fugitive Offenders Amendment Bill was introduced, and that would have meant China could extradite anyone they accused of a crime from Hong Kong into China, where there was a 99% conviction rate. Basically completely going against the basic law and infringing upon the rights of the Hong Kong people that were laid out in the Sino-British Declaration some 28 years earlier. And as you can imagine, the people of Hong Kong didn't really like this very much. The shit hit the fan and protests began in March 2019 and continued to escalate in intensity throughout the year, with government buildings being overrun, triad gangs assaulting protesters, and protesters being shot by police.
A scuffle between officers and demonstrators, then suddenly,
things were getting really out of control, and eventually Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam had no choice but to withdraw the proposed bill. Now, that still didn't really calm things down, and from my subjective viewpoint, the damage had already been done, and the people of Hong Kong could see that their future didn't look very promising, as China now seemed to have a thirst for blood, as was proven on May 28th this year, when the Hong Kong Standing Committee of the National People's Congress passed a new law named the National People's Congress Decision on Hong Kong National Security Legislation. And this has been labelled by many as the final nail in the coffin for Hong Kong. It may seem a little dramatic, but Hong Kong as we knew it is unlikely to exist ever again. President Trump has announced that USA will now begin the process of ending the American government's special relationship with Hong Kong.
The United States will also take necessary steps to sanction PRC and Hong Kong officials directly or indirectly involved in eroding Hong Kong's autonomy and just, if you take a look, absolutely smothering Hong Kong's freedom.
In my country, the UK, although there's been no official response from our Prime Minister Boris Johnson, our Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab has set up to 3 million people registered as British overseas nationals in Hong Kong, could be eligible for UK citizenship if China presses ahead with this law, which certainly appears to be the case, and China are not very well known for changing their mind when it comes to these matters. The people of Hong Kong really know this, and they're already looking for ways out.
台灣讀書咁，我都一直都有諗，可唔可以喺嗰邊做嘢咧？可能話儲錢，先再睇下返台灣或者去其他地方咁樣啦。
Apparently, online searches of the word emigration increased tenfold recently in Hong Kong, and people there have been cashing in stocks and currency in their millions in order to protect their investments after a huge drop in Hong Kong's stock exchange following the passing of the draft bill. And for those looking to leave, Taiwan could be a popular destination. Official data from Taiwan's immigration authority shows 2,383 Hong Kong citizens were granted Taiwanese residency in the first 4 months of 2020, a 150% increase from the same period last year.
咁我哋近期咧發現咧好多移民台灣嗰啲咧就個年齡層有個越嚟越年輕嘅一個趨勢。以前移民過咧，佢哋都會諗第一時間諗退休。咁但係我哋近排遇到一啲咧，例如比較後生啲20幾30歲嗰啲咧。
And also, notable celebrities that could have made fortunes if they chose the other side of the fence have decided to come back and show support by living in Taiwan. And Taiwan's President TAIWAN has made it very clear that Taiwan will do anything we can to help and show solidarity with the people of Hong Kong. And in a message to any Hong Kongers looking to escape the tyranny of China, in a post on Twitter last week, she explained how her government was working on a plan for Hong Kong citizens that is going to include plans for their residence, placement, employment, and life in Taiwan. A statement that if I was in the shoes of the Hong Kong residents would fill me with hope, knowing that another country, despite its own issues, was willing to open its doors to me and my family and protect me. Looking after people in times of need is a basic human instinct that most people around the world can understand. Most people. And that fills me with pride to know that I live in a country where we offer that kind of assistance. But now I think that Taiwan has become a part of the conversation in this video, it's time to consider whether or not what has happened in Hong Kong will also happen here in Taiwan. And yes, I'm absolutely not a political expert, and I base the majority of what I have to say in my videos on a personal, subjective feeling and how things affect me and make me feel, rather than cold, clinical presentations that you may see in other videos. And I have to be honest and admit that for the first time in 12 years, I have started to actually consider the possibility that China may try and take action in some way against Taiwan. And it's really started to unnerve me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not scared, and I think it's common knowledge that any land invasion of Taiwan is pretty much impossible. But let's not forget, Xi Jinping is not a democratically elected president that can be gotten rid of at the next election. There are no elections. The world is stuck with him at the helm of an economic superpower, and unless countries around the world start to change the way they interact with him and his regime, he has literally got us all by the balls, and if he gets a bee in his bonnet about Taiwan, then he's going to fight for the rest of his life to realize whatever goal or dream he has about trying to take control of this country. As I said, probably not through military action for logistical as well as political reasons, but just the economic sanctions he could impose alone would be pretty devastating for us. Just as I mentioned in last week's video, as willing and prepared Taiwanese people are to fight alongside Hong Kong in protecting democracy and freedom, there is little that can be done against a dictator such as this unless the other countries around the world start to act and start changing the world's economic landscape that is currently becoming more and more Chinese. To reference a recent event and a recent hashtag, Taiwan is helping. Taiwan showed how we are prepared to help the rest of the world when it comes to those in need, sending masks and medical equipment in the recent coronavirus outbreak. I think it's fair to say that possibly in future Taiwan is going to need that favor being returned. Taiwan is also going to need help from other countries around the world when it comes to standing up against this dictator. And I have to say, despite many of his shortcomings that I believe he has, President Trump's immediate actions were pretty impressive and shows the world what they need to do to avoid China taking over not only Taiwan, but other countries as well, possibly. Japan have also acted in the right way by providing billions of yen in assistance to Japanese companies with China-based operations to help them pull out of China. And as I mentioned, as far as I know, our Prime Minister Boris Johnson hasn't formally spoken out yet, but 7 of our former UK foreign secretaries have urged him to form a global alliance to coordinate the response to the China-Hong Kong crisis before it gets even more out of hand. Maybe it's going to be a case of locking the stable door after the horse has bolted in regards to saving Hong Kong, but if we want to save Taiwan and the rest of the world to some extent, then my Prime Minister and others like him need to do something to prevent this bully of a country from getting too big for its boots and literally trying to take over the world, James Bond villain style. And on that pretty dramatic note, I think it's time to answer the question in the title as simply as possible. Will Taiwan be the next Hong Kong? Well, unfortunately, this is one of the few times in my videos where I genuinely cannot give a definitive answer, as I just don't know. The Chinese regime is just too unpredictable to guess their next move. Even expert political journalists cannot decide if their recent mobilization of troops is in preparation to invade Taiwan or India. There is just no telling what they're going to do next. So as always, I guess I can open up the argument to you guys watching at home. And like me, you probably don't have the simple answer yes or no, but I'd love to get your opinion on how much you fear a China takeover of Taiwan's autonomy. What do you think is going to be his next move? I've got no idea. I'd love to get your opinions in the comment section down below. And as always, we can have a chat. Now, I understand that this has been somewhat of a more serious video and not the light-hearted fun many people want to find on YouTube, but if you have enjoyed hearing my opinion on the matter and would like to watch more in future, then please consider subscribing to the channel to show your support and solidarity. Or if you want to go to the next level and support me more directly, then you can go check out my Patreon page, which is linked in the description. But I think it's time to say goodbye. So thanks for watching. Thanks for all of your support. But as for now, and as always, I'll see you next time in My Life in Taiwan.